we're making chicken stock, and that's going to be the quintessential thing to making all your soups, sauces, and stews really shine. Every single meal is going to be like that scene from Ratatouille where Anton Ego goes back to his childhood. Yeah, every single meal. Let's get to it. Before we get into the recipe, I want to show you guys a couple things that I think are important to know before hopping into the kitchen. A well-stocked pantry is a great chef's best weapon, and amongst it should be vegetable oil. I keep a selection of vegetable or canola oil on hand and in large amounts, because it's vital for deep frying. Oil like vegetable, canola, and grapeseed all have a high smoke point, which is basically how hot it can get before it starts to burn. Olive oil sits below canola on the oils that burn scale. It's awesome for salad dressings, marinades, and frying meats. But the king of these is butter. However, it has a low smoke point, meaning it burns really easy. But by mixing canola or olive oil with it in your pan, it can help reduce its chances of burning. Isn't that cool? A selection of vinegar is usually a missed pantry item for home cooks. Vinegars help make great pan sauces, something we'll do a lot of, and are an essential key to making amazing homemade salad dressings as well. Some notable stars are apple cider vinegar, white wine vinegar, red wine vinegar, rice wine vinegar, plain old white vinegar, and the good stuff, balsamic vinegar. Good equipment is also essential, like good tongs. Get all metal, just because nothing will burn or melt off into your food. 2 smaller pots for rice, reheating soups, sauces. Then we're going to want a larger pot for boiling water for pasta, stocks, stews, and other things that we're going to need a big pot for. A non-stick pan for eggs and pancakes. And you're going to want some good frying pans or saute pans. Stainless steel if you can get it. What's important is a heavy bottom. That conducts heat better. Cutting boards this small. They're serving trays. So throw it away like I did, but hope you didn't break it. Yeah, you want something big so you don't get cluttered. And to set up your cutting board properly, put a wet rag right underneath. Sometimes you can fold the edges, that gives you a little bit more traction. We're going to go over things like dicing an onion, because I know how intimidating that can be for new cooks. I don't know why, it's super easy. If you watch here, you're just placing cuts all the way down the length of the onion, always riding your knuckle. I kind of went wonky there. Now you're placing one lateral cut, and then you're just going to chop right through. Knife is always on your knuckles, always. You're never going above your knuckles. As long as you know where your fingers are, you're never going to get hurt. Once you get better, you can do this without looking. I dare you. And then if you have, use a bench scraper to clear your cutting board. They're super handy and super cheap. I really recommend it. We're going to go over other cuts like the chiffonade. Super important. It makes little angel hairs of your herbs. Kind of like this sage here. It's great for basil. We're also going to go over the cross chop, which is awesome for mincing garlic and parsley, cilantro, and other herbs. Then there's the rock chop, which you'll use most. Remember, always go against your knuckles, making that claw. Finally, there'll be the push cut, a faster technique. Always against your knuckles though, right? You're never, ever, ever going above them. Now to keep your knife sharp, you're going to want a honing rod. Just place it against the cutting board like this. Then at a 15-degree angle, swipe your knife right down the side of it. That'll keep it sharp if you'd use it like once a week. We're also going to need some scissors for snipping herbs. Today we're going to be cutting a spine out of a bird. A paring knife and a vegetable peeler are very handy. And a serrated knife for meat, crusty breads, and other crusty things. No, your personality doesn't count. Some good spatulas, something that can take some heat. Durable ones will help. Whisks, you want some balloon whisks for whipped cream, meringue, hollandaise, sturdier one for baking and roux and soups. Mortar and pestle is handy for garlic and other pastes. Now, today we're going to be making stock. And this is kind of like the key to any good recipe. And to start with that stock, we're also going to need a chicken. Now I chose this lesson because I think having the skill to disassemble a chicken like this is pretty handy, because a whole chicken goes for roughly $10 and you get probably 3 meals out of one chicken, and if you're living by yourself, that's super handy. So we're going to start off by taking off its wings here. You'll see that I can kind of move my finger over the joint, and if you place your knife over that, you should be able to cut right between the joints. I cut through it there, but on this second one here I did a little bit better. It's no big deal if you do cut through it, mainly for presentation's sake, to get it nice and pretty like that. Now we're going to take its spine out. I know this is probably going to make everyone cringe, but this is the essential piece that we're going to want for our stock, along with those wings there on the side. This has a lot of natural compounds that help give your stock a lot of body. So when we put it in there too, you want to cut it up. I didn't do it. It'll help make your stock that much better. Now to disassemble this chicken, just snip its breastbone there and it'll open it up like a book. And now we're just going to take its thighs off for later. It should be really easy. Just cut through the skin and any remaining bone. Shouldn't be any bone, but I cut a little bit wide on the spine. It's fine if you do, but if you don't like bone, then I don't know what to tell you. Now to cut the breasts off here, just feel for the breastbone. It's right down the center. You'll be able to feel it with your finger. You're just going to get your knife on either side and cut right through. And kind of just open it up. I did 2 cuts first, and then you're going to push your knife right down and cut the breast right off. So to do that, you're placing your hand on the front of your knife and then bringing the heel of it right through. You're going to repeat that same thing to take that breastbone off. And we're going to use that for our stock as well. I like to use the drumsticks in my stocks. Now to take them off from the thigh, it's the same as the wing. You're just placing your knife through the joint and cutting right through. It's super easy. Just feel it out with your fingers. You'll feel the joint itself as you roll your finger over it. Place your knife through and then just cut it off. I like to use the thighs and drumsticks for soups because they can take the high heat, and the chicken breast with the bone on will actually help them be a lot more juicy. But that's all for other episodes. Today we're focused on all of the scraps and what to do with them, because don't just throw that stuff away. It's like gold. So first we're going to take all of our chicken bits. I had some from earlier exploits that I'm roasting off. Get the oven preheated to 450 degrees. You want it going into a hot oven. You want that crisp right away. So while those are browning, we have some things to take care of. We gotta prep our celery, carrots, our 2 onions, and garlic, which I'll show you how to get out of the paper there. Some cloves, peppercorns, bay leaves, and some parsley. That's gonna be super essential to bringing out a nice fresh flavor in your stock. Now to core your onion, I like to use a paring knife, but you can just cut it off as well. But if you leave that root on, it'll actually help with how much your eyes tear up. But a sharp knife will help with that too. So now we can just peel off any layers that we don't need. Today we're just going to quarter the onions. We want something big because that'll last the long cook time of our stock, which is about 4 to 6 hours. You don't have to peel your carrots. I took off the tops as well just because of habit, but you can just leave all of that on. Just clean the carrots really well. You don't want any dirt in your stock. And like the onions, we're just cutting them up into big pieces. You want them to be able to break down slowly as we cook this stock down. Nothing fancy, just cut them up into chunks. Now for our garlic, super easy, just place your knife over top and give it a little smush. Should be able to just pull off all that wrapping now. You can also put it into a container with a lid and shake it. That's if you have a lot. It's super fast and a lot easier than using the knife. No need to cut this up either. You're just throwing it in all whole. Now after that garlic's dealt with, you're cutting up the celery into the same kind of chunks as the carrots. I didn't show it here. Kind of forgot. There you have it. The party that's going to change your life. Even though we're going to throw away most of this later. So now we're going to tuck in our parsley real nice. Add in our peppercorns. Don't go too crazy. I'm not measuring it out, but about 20. No more than 3 cloves. I went a little crazy on that and added a 4th. 3 bay leaves will be fine. This is all aromatics, and it's gonna make everything taste and smell that much better. Now we're gonna fill it up. Leave about an inch because you're gonna wanna add all these sizzly chicken carcass bits. Yeah, that sounded great. And just toss them into our concoction. Once it's in there, give it a good stir. Make sure nothing's sitting on the bottom, that there's lots of space for things to bubble. Once it's up to a boil, we're gonna skim everything off. You could probably reduce to a simmer and then skim. I mean, probably be easier. I only skimmed it once in this video, but you may need to do it a couple times. After 4 to 6 hours, you should be left with this. You want it bubbling like this the whole time. Now all we have to do is strain off the solids. I'm not being a good example, but you should be pressing down on all of this to get as much juice out as you can. It was a little hard with me filming. Now I'm straining through a colander. Again, straining all of that liquid gold. Don't want to miss any. I was a dummy here and spilt everywhere. Now through a fine mesh strainer to get any remaining debris. And now we have our golden, beautiful chicken stock. Great for soups, sauces, or just bathing in it like I do sometimes. It's up to you, really. Thanks for checking out this video. It means a lot. Put a lot of hard work into it. Kind of took a lot longer than I expected as well. If I taught you anything new, then make sure to subscribe or share it with someone who burns a pot of water. See you later.